Guys, we are at a crisis here. There's a turning point between all civilizations. There's a turning point for us all. We have hit that point. We are in a crisis. What our government has done disgusts me. People could kill so many for the sake of simple power itself. Disgusts me. People would die in events such as 9/11, events such as Vietnam. Why? For the simple sake of power. One of the top Nazi scientists once said, this was before terrorism even started, at first the government would seek to gain control and cause a crisis with communism. Then, crisis would come from terrorism. Seen that happen. Man said it far before this ever happened. Then next, and this is a crazy bit. Of course, quite a few years ago, terrorism being a threat, that would have sounded crazy. Now it's not so much, it's a reality. But here's the next one they said. Crazy bit would be a faked alien invasion. Ah, that's a bit crazy, isn't it? But what about terrorism? Where have we taken it? A false crisis. Looking for men in caves that are not even there. Our former president, who was very close to the Bin Laden family. Very close. Probably still is, as far as I know. I don't really know that. It's very close to the Bin Laden family. And why then? Why then did it take us so long to find him? Why then did it take us so long to find him when he was in the very city in which he was? Just on the outskirts, living in a fairly nice living conditions. Been doing so for a while now. Why did it take us so long to finally pop him in the head? How do you know that he wasn't actually the one that was behind it? There is no sufficient financial proof where the 9/11 attack came from. No records. And yet this is of no consolation. It does not matter to them. 9/11. The buildings went down. Vertically. Melted steel. Very interesting, isn't it? Melted through steel. Left no trace of the plane practically. Very interesting. What about Building 7? Went down classic. Middle line broke down and fell on its own. Demolition job is what it looks like. Yeah, one looks like thermite. Melted metal at the very center of the Twin Towers. No report whatsoever of it except by witnesses. No official report whatsoever. About the Pentagon. A man who could barely even fly a plane somehow managed to hit the Pentagon. And then the plane vaporized to such an extent that there was literally almost nothing there. There's nothing there. And yet, they could pull fingerprints off a body. When the plane of steel and carbon and metal was completely vaporized. The engine compartment couldn't even be found. The people that were there that could pick up little traces couldn't find anything bigger. Scrap about this big. About that big. And yet, a body was found that they could pull fingerprints off. What about the one that was crashed out in the middle of nowhere? Big hole in the ground. That's pretty interesting. It's just a big hole in the ground. You look at how plane crashes, you see debris scattered miles around. There, it's just a big hole in the ground. There is nothing. No other debris, nothing. Any other commercial airlines that crash, huge amounts of debris. Why is there none there? It's very interesting. All these facts being put forward, and yet no one cares to pay attention whatsoever. We are in a state of crisis. Look at our government. Look at all the bills that are being passed. Look at all the things that are being done. The attempt to limit the internet. Limit our communication. We cannot communicate to foreign websites. All the videos on YouTube, according to the proposed laws, will be blocked if they don't like it. If it's got any, quote, copyrighted material. And they will be able to just block it without any reason except for its copyrighted material. So in other words, this video, which plays nothing except for myself, they could basically take and say, oh, it's got copyrighted material on it. So now we can block it without any questions asked and delete your account. Hope you enjoy. This will probably happen eventually. But bill hasn't been passed yet. Attempting to take away our rights to bear arms. Or limiting of doing so, which has been done for quite a while now. We are in a state of crisis. They want to leave us defenseless now. Does not matter whether you're Democrat or Republican. Does not matter. We all want freedom, right? Doesn't matter what we want. People at the head of the party, they propose the basic ideals of the differences that are actually quite minor in the things, the grand scheme of it. The only main difference is actually one is providing for the poor and looking out for yourself, basically. You know, you earn what you get. That's the Republican, and then Democratic is we help each other. Okay, that's the only main difference. They all want freedom, though. Hello? We all want freedom here. Does not matter. Because it doesn't matter whose side you vote for. They're all in the pockets of somebody. It does not matter. The corruption of our government has been well known. If you look around for some time, you can see it. Famous quote. Power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. What do they want from us? Absolute power. If they can control us to such an extent that they want, then they will have absolute power. And then what becomes of our system? A few, minor few, 0.001% of our population controlling the world and living up on it in palaces of gold and beauty, while the rest of us live in squalor, defenseless, and the only ones above that would be the military to keep us in line. So if we rebel, if we do anything against them, they just pop us in the face. And absolute surveillance. Pretty soon they won't even need people. They'll just have machines do it. Come by and butcher you up while you're sleeping. It's pretty sickening, isn't it? We're in a state of crisis. We shouldn't have to put up with this. I tell you this. Go and protest. It's what we can do. We got rights still. Exercise them. Do not let them take it away. Exercise our rights. Thank you very much. As I always say, keep it real, keep it living. Don't get yourselves killed out there.